I'm assuming that you already have a budget of 2.7 to 3 lakh on road. So if you just want a cruiser, just get the Meteor 350, because I think in the cruiser segment, Meteor 350 is way ahead of competition. Now if you want a good tourer, then you'll have to look for Dominar 400. But if you're someone who is open to other opinion, then you might wanna go down and think about all of these criterias. So both the bikes, in terms of look and feel, they are really good. Both of them can give you the big bike feeling. Meteor 350 is a substantial bike. It's heavy, low to the ground, and a good dose of metal body. On the other hand, Dominar 400 can equally provide you that big bike feel that you are looking for. So if you can handle Meteor 350, I don't think so there would be any problem handling Dominar 400, because the weights of these two bikes, they are almost equal. The only difference between Meteor 350 and Dominar 400 would be the top heavy feel of Dominar 400 because of the center of gravity. Now on to the next point. If mileage is something that you are looking for, then you should think about Meteor 350, because Meteor 350 is a bike which can be ridden inside the city, and you can go on highway tours as well. Between mixed riding condition, it can give you 30 to 35 plus mileage. Dominar 400 engine is high revving engine. In short, Dominar 400 is a high performance machine. I already have an Activa for my city duty, so I wanted a bike which can give at least 30 kilometers per liter. And with the mixed riding condition on the highway, I have seen Dominar returning more than 30. Inside riding comfort, we have three parameters to judge these bikes: the suspension, ergonomics, rough roading. Now when it comes to suspension, the stock Meteor suspension is not that great. I had swapped out the stock suspension with the older classic 350 Nitrox one, and with that my Meteor 350's ride was much more smoother. But if you compare the stock suspension of Dominar 400 and Meteor 350, I feel Dominar 400 has little better suspension. It is good enough for regular people. Then the next point is ergonomics. I think the ergonomics is something that would sort of decide your purchase as well, because cruiser is not everyone's cup of tea. If you are riding a cruiser, your feet is always forward, and because of this riding posture, pressure point of your own body becomes your tailbone. I rode my Meteor 350 more than 12,000 kilometers, and at the end of the 12,000 kilometers, I was sort of used to that riding posture. Dominar's riding posture is much more neutral. It would take some bit of time to get used to, probably a day or two. But if you are a cruiser guy, if you can handle that riding posture, then by all means, you can go for Meteor 350. Now the third point on the ride comfort would be the rough roading. Now in case of rough roading, I feel both the bikes, they can do rough roading. You don't have to worry about that. They cannot do off-roading, but they can surely do some bit of rough roading. I have taken my Meteor in my various off-roading rides, and every time I went to off-roading or rough roading rather, I wasn't scared. It was confidence inspiring. It's just that you'll have to be a little more cautious to handle that heavy machine. Mind you, the ground clearance of Meteor 350 is 170 mm, which is little higher than what you have in Bajaj Dominar 400. Now what I have seen is that people have taken Dominar 400 to Leh Ladakh, they have done Spiti, they have done Polar Odyssey, and everywhere this bike went. So even though the ground clearance of Bajaj Dominar 400 is lesser than Meteor 350, but at this point I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt. Let's see how the story pans out for me. But overall, if you ask me, the rough roading with Meteor 350 and Bajaj Dominar 400 would be equally good or equally bad. In terms of pillion comfort, again, it's something that I would say it's a tie. When I bought my Meteor 350, the first modification that I did was pillion seat modification. And with that modification, my pillion was happy. And I think I'll have to do the same thing with Dominar 400 as well. And in maintenance cost, Meteor 350 wins over Dominar 400. Meteor 350 has a long stroke motor. It's a air oil cooled motor. You do not need coolant and all of those extra fluid that you need on Dominar. So naturally, the authorized service center bill would be little lesser or little cheap compared to Dominar 400. Meteor 350's first service was done with 1100 rupees. For the Dominar, I had to spend around 2.5. So roughly double, you can say. Highway speed is something that depends on person to person. If you are someone who wants to cruise between 90 to 95, then just get the Meteor 350, you would be happy. But if you are someone who wants to cruise between 110 to 130, you'll have to get the Dominar. And the reason I'm saying to get the Dominar is because Meteor 350 is good up until 95 kilometers per hour. After 95 kilometers per hour, that bike feels it's running out of breath, especially with luggage and pillion. So if you have to overtake a truck at the speed of 100 kilometers per hour, then it's little cumbersome. But in the case of Dominar, what I have seen is that this bike can do 110 at 5500 rpm. After that also it has a huge amount of power band that is left to me. So Dominar can do easy 120 130 on the highway without any fuss. So it is totally up to you. If you are someone who likes to cruise at, let's say, 80 kilometers per hour, and then you will have to overtake someone who is at 85 kilometers per hour, then I think Meteor will do just fine. But if you are someone who are cruising at, let's say, 100 kilometers per hour, and you will have to overtake one vehicle, let's say at 110 kilometers per hour, then you will have to choose Dominar. There are a few other things that you wanna consider when you are thinking about Dominar 350, Dominar 400 versus Meteor 350. The first one is tank range, just because Meteor has bigger tank, 15-liter tank, as opposed to 13-liter tank that you see on Dominar, and Meteor gives good mileage on the highway at the speed of 90 to 95. If you consider tank range as one of your criteria, then go for Meteor 350. If you want to consider the resale value, then I would say Meteor 350 will give you slightly better resale value. I have seen that with my own Meteor 350. That's why I am saying this, because Royal Enfield has some sort of premium thing attached to it. Then in terms of modification, I think in this case for Meteor 350 and Dominar 400, for both of these bikes you will get good amount of modifications, good amount of accessories in the open market, so you don't have to worry about that. Weight, again, the curb weight of both of these bikes, they're roughly the same. Touring ready, this is something I feel Dominar has slight edge, especially with the new touring edition Dominar that is on sale. It has knuckle guards, it has a good visor, it has been developed with some computational modeling has gone into the scene. But the windshield of Bajaj Dominar is good enough. You don't have to purchase any windshield. It also has the top rack along with a small backrest. Now that backrest is a disappointment if you compare the backrest of Meteor 350. But overall, if I have to say that, if there is one bike that you can purchase and go for a tour, I would say Dominar is touring ready, almost touring ready. Now coming to the headlight, I think I don't have to talk about it. We all know that Dominar has better headlight. Even though the headlight is not that powerful, but it is good enough if you compare the competition. Coming to the next bit, which is value for money. We all know that Bajaj Dominar is a value for money machine. At 3 lakh rupees on road Bangalore, the amount of performance that you get is something to talk about. So it is a value for money machine, but at the same time, just because it is a value for money machine, it also has certain cost cutting, and because of those cost cutting, you might feel a few things that they are not premium, so to say, right? And I'll talk about that thing in my ownership experience. But overall, I feel in 3 lakh rupees, the Dominar is value for money machine. I feel Meteor 350 in that matter, Royal Enfield's 350cc category, they are little pricey. The second last thing that I want to talk about is the quick delivery time. So Bajaj produces their motorcycle huge amount, and their motorcycles are always ready to be purchased, whereas in the case of Royal Enfield, you will have to book the bike, then wait for 2 to 3 months to get the delivery. And for some people it might be okay, but for me personally, I don't like to wait for that long. Okay, if I have the money, if I want to purchase some product, I want it right now. After 3 months I might change my mind. After 3 months maybe there are other bikes that are available which are better than whatever Royal Enfield is offering. So if you want a quick delivery of your bike, then Dominar 400 is the answer. And that brings me to the last point. If you are someone who cares about brand messaging, brand history, brand legacy, then I think you will have to go for Royal Enfield, because Royal Enfield has a huge legacy, and they do not just sell the bike, they also sell that legacy. I mean, the entire Royal Enfield marketing campaign runs on that legacy. If you get goosebumps listening to those stories of how your great grandfather, they rode their Bullet 350, if you get excited about that story, then I think you have to buy Royal Enfield, because you are already sold in that legacy marketing. So if you are someone who cares about history and the legacy, even though you were not there when that history happened, if you care about that, then by all means go for Royal Enfield. But if you are someone who is okay about your product, you don't care about brand that much. For me, I don't care about brands. I have owned TVS, Honda, Hero, KTM. I have owned Royal Enfield as well, and now I am owning Bajaj. So for me, brand doesn't matter as long as the manufacturer is able to deliver what I want. I'm happy with that bike. So my advice to you would be that when you are planning to purchase Meteor 350 or Dominar 400, just take a rental bike for a day or two and go for at least 100 plus kilometers at once. If you do 100, 200, many things you will get to know about each of these machines. Don't get me wrong, I will definitely miss my Meteor. Meteor has a character, Meteor has a personality that Dominar will never be able to match, because that long stroke diesel like locomotive feeling that you get from Royal Enfield, no other brand has it. But that is not the entire picture, right? You can have that feeling, you can enjoy that feeling for 1 hour, 2 hours. But let's say if you are going on a ride for 12 hours, how long you are going to enjoy that duk 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 duk? At one point you're gonna get bored because you are riding little slow, highway is empty, it's afternoon, there is no one, so you will get bored with Meteor. But with Bajaj Dominar 400, what I have observed that you can have little bit of spirited riding if you are bored. So if you are someone whose primary riding is around the city and occasional highways, then go get a Meteor. Okay, you would be happy because the low end torque will help you in many ways. If you want to do the distance, I think Dominar would also make a good choice. Now then again, who am I to tell you what to buy? Because at the end of the day, you are a rider, you will have to decide what bike will suit you, because your body type, my body type are completely different. So every human being is different, and not every bike will suit everyone. That is one thing you'll have to keep in mind. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you, and if it did, then please make sure to subscribe, like this video, and put down some comments on what's your opinion. I would really love to hear your thoughts as well. Thank you. See you again.